What is up, everyone? This is Rodolfo. I'm here to talk about my personal um, story on how I got to Christianity today and where I used to be and all the steps along the way. There are a lot of steps, and so I just wanted to make a video on that. And I just wanted to sort of not proselytize, not like preach to people. I mean, of course, it's always nice to have people aboard the Christian train, but at the same time, it's not necessary, in my opinion, it's not necessary to have people get saved. It's not necessary to have people when they don't want to be. Okay, that's the key here. So, without further ado, I will get into my whole trajectory, my trajectory as an individual who used to be a staunch militant atheist. So, first of all, I guess I have to outline where I used to be about a year ago. About a year ago, I was struggling with my personal life. I was struggling with many things, with my religion and spirituality. There were many moments where I kind of thought, Jesus isn't real. I was giving into the atheistic. I mean, you kind of have to backtrack more than a year in order to understand what exactly I was thinking a year ago, what exactly was going through my mind, what exactly my thought process was. So about a couple years ago is when, I was born into Christianity as a fundamentalist, literalist, evangelical Protestant Christian. Despite being the fact that I'm Mexican, I'm not Catholic. My dad's side of the family is Catholic. I personally took to my mom's side because I was just a little bit closer to her, and so my computer turned off. Okay. Anyway, I was closer to my mom, and so I adopted Christianity into my life very early, and that was my life for the longest time, maybe until I was 15 years old. When I was 15 years old, a lot of physical changes were going on. You have puberty, you have just conscious awareness of your surroundings, of your philosophy in life, of everything going on, and so I was just very impacted by all of this sudden switch or sudden change into a different type of surrounding, a different type of everything. At the same time, coincidentally, or not coincidentally, was when I was, experiencing life with the internet. The internet was something that was definitely needed since I had to I had to deliver a lot of documents to my professors in high school. I was taking AP courses. I was taking mostly AP courses, and I was taking a lot of advanced courses, and so it was just very necessary in order to get on board with the virtual internet, and so I did that. And at the same time, I started discovering atheistic websites. I started discovering Yahoo Answers in particular. Yahoo Answers was a place where I thought I could spread the word of God, but it just ended up blowing up in my face. But fast forward to today, and you have someone who's been through, check it out, guys, who has been through fundamentalist Christianity, who has been through deism, agnosticism, true agnosticism, where someone is just like, I don't know, like anything, I don't know. More about that later, maybe. Agnosticism, true agnosticism, militant atheism, nihilism. I've been through a couple other philosophies, but after that, in particular, it was moderate Christianity for a couple years, and then it was back to atheism, and then it was back to agnosticism, and then pantheism or panentheism, and I want to say one more. Just all these different like isms. I mean, I took a class at my university, at my college, where it was about religion and spirituality. I think my professor, he was Jewish atheist. I think I kind of got the vibe that he was just like a Jewish atheist, like a non-practicing Jewish individual who professes like no religion, professes no higher power. I mean, just likes studying comparative religion, and that was just an experience for sure. He mentioned at the beginning of when we were doing introductions, he would mention at the beginning of the class that an individual like me, who has gone through so many different types of isms and so many types of philosophies in my life, is an individual who merits a lot of studying, because I mean, if you go from Christianity to atheism or from atheism to Christianity, that itself is worth a lot of just peering into, and it's worth a lot of just talking conversational, it's worth having as a topic. And so me going from Christianity to atheism back to Christianity was, I mean, again, into like limbo and then back again to Christianity, like for sure now, it kind of merits a lot of just talking and video like sharing, and just, I mean, exploration about yourself, and exploration about just what it all means to be spiritual and religious in 2020. So I mean, a little bit more about myself is that, I mean, when I was finally in contact with the internet, I mean, I didn't have internet until I was like 15 years old, 15 years old, and so the first thing I thought of was, why do atheists believe in nothing? And I mean, a bunch of misconceptions. So fast forward to nowadays, you have someone who believes in Christianity not because of intellectual debates. I mean, that always helps, but primarily it's because of faith. It's because of works that you have seen in your personal life, anecdotes that you have just experienced as a person, experienced as an individual, and who can, use this as testimony in churches and in everyday Christian conversations. So that is my personal perspective in why I'm a Christian. I don't think someone can be a Christian based on logic, based on things like logic, rationale, science. I mean, maybe we'll get to a point where, I mean, this is like far into the future. This is, talking about futurism and the future of religion. Maybe we'll get to a point where we can reach, we'll get on the Tower of Babel, and we'll like reach a science to where we can like actually discover whether or not there is a God, whether or not it's the Christian God, whether or not, etc. Omnist is one of the most important philosophies or tenets in my personal faith, and along the trajectory of my spirituality. More about that later if there's time, because I'm already at 9 minutes. So I wanted to make this a 10-minute video, and it ended up being very, very long. But anyway, I just don't think, I think most people are in Christianity because their parents told them to be Christian. And so, I mean, that's totally normal. I mean, that is the whole reason there's religion, is so that you can pass it on to your kids. I mean, you do get like the rebels here and there where they don't want to be Christian. When I was younger, that people that don't want to be Christian because of, X reason, and that they just don't want to follow in line in the steps or the footsteps of their parents. And so I think that's more rare than it is normal or frequent. And I have to go back to my original assertion that most people are religious because of faith, and faith alone is what's gonna help everyone in the end, and it's what's gonna help keep you Christian, and it's what's gonna help keep you connected with God, rather than this atheistic or secular or humanist or non-Christian reason for believing in God, because the Christian God, because you can't really, the whole point of having faith, the whole point of Christianity, the whole point of everything is for you to have Christian faith and follow God based on something that you have no evidence for. And I might want to repeat that. The whole reason that we are Christians is because we don't have evidence for Christianity being true. We just believe it in our hearts. I mean, there is the whole aspect of, we believe Jesus rose from the grave 2020 years ago-ish. We believe that because of word of mouth, because of a lot of, like, there's like a whole list of reasons for why Jesus is a real person, is studied as a historically real person, and why he might have actually been very divine. But those aren't like the actual like things that you base your entire faith and life around. What you base your entire life around is just trust in the Lord, and not leaning on your own understanding, and not coming up with all these like scientific explanations. I don't understand why there has to be Christian Science, and there has to be like all this like overlapping when there isn't supposed to be such overlap, because it just doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't really how to best phrase this, because I know I'm going to offend a lot of people, but I mean, it just doesn't have to match up side by side, Christianity and science. They can be at odds with one another. That's what the whole religion and science, I mean, to me personally, they're not at odds, but to a lot of people they are. And to those types of people, you have to have your own branch of Christian Science. I mean, that's not really what religion, Christianity, Jesus and God is for. But anyway, off of that tangent, I just wanted to share a little bit about why I think, I mean, this might go into like a 40-50 minute video, but we'll make it that long. So first, speaking as someone who used to be an atheist, someone who used to be very much I was atheist, and then I was also anti-religious, and so those are called, I forget what they're actually called, but they are anti-irreligious, they are anti-theists, and they are very dangerous people when in the wrong hands. They are very dangerous in the sense that they can make you lose your faith, they can make you doubt like your entire belief system, they can make you doubt your entire connection with God, and they can also be quite volatile at times. I mean, I don't really want to get into this right now, but you do have a lot of irreligious regimes that, I mean, I Googled this recently. Wikipedia actually, who's known to be liberal, who's known to be left-leaning, recently deleted their article on how communist and atheistic regimes used to be very, very murderous, and that's just an extreme. That's like an extreme type of atheism, like atheism, irreligiousness, and anti-theism. And so you usually have a lot of anti-theists that are atheists, but you also have some. I mean, there's like a mixture of everything and everything that can possibly exist. We know that, but I mean, you usually have anti-theists that are atheists, and so I used to be one of those, and I pretty much know like every single argument that they can think of that can discredit Christianity, can discredit any type of religion out there, even. And so once you know that, once you know all those arguments, it's kind of easy to like backtrack. If you used to be a Christian, it's kind of easy to go back and like rethink all of the arguments, in the sense of like, I mean, I want to give an example, but it's going to be like too long if I go into it. But, well, one example is the whole Jesus is not like a true historical religious figure. And so, a lot of atheists just don't believe in like word of mouth. They don't believe in anecdotes, and they don't believe in anecdotal evidence, even though that still counts as evidence in a lot of cases. And it is very much, it is the type of evidence that everyone relies on a daily basis. And so if someone tells you something in the streets, you're not going to go like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He is clearly crazy. We should defund them. We should make them pay taxes. No one does that. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, you can kind of tell what my stance is nowadays, but I mean, I don't understand why there has to be such hostileness and hostility, I should say, against, establishments and entire bodies of religious people that just want the good of society, just want goodness in society. They legit want to have an awesome society, for lack of a better word. You do get a lot of wackos. You do get the Westboro Baptist Church. You do get, that type of religious craziness. But, I think, and I don't have the stats to prove this, but I think that's just a huge minority. Huge meaning it's a very small minority. And I don't think, it's worth the effort to have so many atheists nowadays becoming just snobs against these already established religious credences and religious, what's another word for religious bodies, religious, I'll get back to that later, I guess. But there's just no need for this hostility. And I know that times are changing and times are becoming more secular, unfortunately. But I think in the end, we'll see, we'll see if religion or science and atheism and all that is better for us as a society, as a utopia. I think that, speaking way off tangent here, but I think that we will get into a place where we'll have to decide whether we want religion as a state or we want religion as a state, or do we want atheism as a state, and which one is better for us? I think I think we'll still have the separation of church and state, but I'm just thinking ahead here. I'm just thinking way ahead at the conversation, and yeah, that's probably a topic for another day and for another video. But anyway, back to my personal trajectory, my personal ascent or change in course from Christian to atheist to back to Christian again. I would say that. Well, let's just end it right here. Let's just end it. We'll just end it and talk more about this later. I know that this is a very abrupt way to finish this video, but there's a lot I want to say, and not a lot of you people are going to watch 20 or 21 minutes of me talking nonstop. So I'll end it right here, and I'll talk more about this later. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day during quarantine. Adios.